Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and when I think of the holiday season, I always think of the Western Nut Company. They have been part of our family celebration for as long as I can remember. And during this season, when I talk about the warmth of the holidays, the main store in downtown Salt Lake City on 4th South absolutely represents it. When you walk through the doors, just the spirit and the feel, the smells, and the warmth of the holiday season washes over you, and you are going to find all kinds of goodies that are perfect for this time of year. I got to tell you, this gives me a real kick. Their Nut of the Month subscription delivers a variety of nut gift boxes right to the door throughout the year. And also, don't miss their holiday preview sale. It's getting underway November 6th, 7th, and 8th at 4th South and 3rd West. You are going to love everything you find. And if you can't get into the store, go online at westernnut.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Heather Kelly.
We've got the delays if you are going southbound I-15 from the South Interchange in Murray all the way to 90th South in Sandy. It's due to a disabled vehicle that's in a center lane of traffic. Right now, cars are getting by to both the right and left, and it looks like a tow truck or some type of emergency vehicle just arrived on scene. Hopefully, they'll be able to push this vehicle out of the way. You also have delays if you are coming out of Wasatch County. That's eastbound I-84 coming over from the Ogden area, and then trying to get on to eastbound 80 at Echo Junction. That is closed right now due to a crash, so UDOT is advising people to go down to Colville and turn around and get back onto eastbound 80 from there. Home ownership is slipping away in Utah, and young Utahns are being priced out of their own communities. Learn more about Utah's housing shortage and what we can do to begin to fix it at demandmoresupply.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today of 58, overnight low 42. We have a slight chance of rain today. The weekend will be sunny with the highs in the mid-50s. Right now, it's 48 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Good morning. It's Holly Richardson. Greg Skordas has the day off today. And it is the day, if you are a traveler and you're headed to or from any destination, flying on an airplane, today is the day that the U.S. is decreasing their flights by 10%. Salt Lake City International Airport, you should be prepared for delays and cancellations. They're on the list. So text us at 57500 if you've already experienced a delay or a cancellation and where you're going or coming from. I have with me in studio KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff. Hey, you've been keeping an eye on the flights this morning, and you showed me a graph that was like, oh my goodness, not so great.
Especially if you're flying out of New York, Chicago, or Atlanta, or flying to those cities. Right now, they're listed on the FlightAware.com misery page.
Oh, gosh.
As being the 3 biggest miseries in the country.
Ugh. Tell us, it's 9:00 in the morning in Utah. What are we looking at like for delays overall?
So overall delays nationally,
Yeah.
13,400 plus
Holy cow.
right now, and that number has gone up. When we first started reporting, it was just over 9,000.
Wow.
So it's gone up over 4,000
Oh my goodness.
in what has it been? I guess 4 hours now that
Oh,
we've kind of been watching this.
That does sound miserable. How is Salt Lake City being impacted? Do you know?
So Salt Lake is actually doing better than most of the rest of the country. 23 flights have been canceled.
Oh.
Most of those are SkyWest connection flights, so they're kind of smaller. And then 4 of those are Southwest. And last check at FlightAware, 14 flights are listed as delayed right now in Salt Lake.
From Salt Lake, leaving Salt Lake.
Leaving or coming to Salt Lake.
Oh my goodness. So where are the worst trouble areas? So you said JFK?
JFK, New York in general.
Okay.
And from the look of the map, I think they're including New Jersey in there as well. So just all of those kind of East Coast. Then Chicago, O'Hare.
Oh yeah.
And Atlanta, of course, Atlanta being, it's
A major
it's one of the
hub.
major hubs. And looking at New York, pretty much they show the kind of the connecting lines. Pretty much every line out of New York is red right now.
Oh my goodness. So what are you hearing for advice to travelers? I mean, we talked about this yesterday and said, take a good dose of patience with you. But really, what are travelers saying? Do you know?
The best thing they can do is just check their flight just constantly.
Yeah.
Check their flight. There is a list of the flights that are canceled. They should have gotten a cancellation notification either coming into or out of Salt Lake. And like I say, those are mostly smaller ones. But really, you want to give yourself probably an extra, they say 2 hours or 3 hours. I would give yourself an extra 4 or maybe even 5 hours.
Oh my
getting
goodness.
through TSA and then just waiting on cancellations. If you're flying anywhere with a connecting flight, I would be a little nervous today.
Yeah,
because-
especially if it's a tight connection at all.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you don't have at least a couple of hours overlay, just because if you get out of here late. Many years ago, I was flying to the Philippines, and our flight was delayed 3 hours. We hit LAX and literally ran from the domestic terminal.
Yeah. You have to go outside.
Ran outside.
Wow.
They flagged us through. We didn't even stop because they were waiting for us. They were holding the plane.
Wow.
And it was like 1.25 miles.
Yeah. Oh,
that
gosh.
we ran.
Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun.
So,
Look, Utah's Morning News spoke with ABC transportation reporter Sam Sweeney, who broke it down how they're determining flight cancellations.
They're looking to do the flights that have the lowest impact. So if there are multiple flights on a route each day, say there's 10 flights between City A and City B, and they've reduced that number to 8, well, they can absorb the people, for the most part, who are on those 2 canceled flights into those other 8 flights. The flights they're not going to cancel, if you have 1 flight a day to a city, they're not going to cancel that flight. Or if it's a long-haul international flight, they're not going to cancel that flight. I just spoke with United, and they were able to tell me that nearly every person on an impacted flight today has been rebooked on another flight that departs within 4 hours of their originally scheduled departure. So there's a lot of backup options on the flights that have been canceled.
Sweeney also says that flights should be immediately rebooked for you if your flights are canceled, including the connections.
So as soon as you are on an impacted flight, you will be rebooked immediately, and that will be sent to your app. And if you see, hey, look, it's a longer connection than I had hoped, or this time doesn't work for me, you can look for another option. Or you can say, hey, look, I'm just not going to take this trip. I want a full cash refund, and you are entitled to that.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. So we do have a texter that has a question for you. If you know, Don, how is Atlanta to Salt Lake City? And then how's North Carolina? Are you able to tell those?
Not right now because I don't have the computer in front of me. But
Okay.
Like I say, into and out of Atlanta, that's one of the 3 hardest hit. So I would guess they're probably going to want to give themselves a little extra time, especially if they're making a connecting flight, and then for example, on to South Carolina.
Yeah, good to know.
I can look that up, and we can try and get you that information in a minute.
Well, so Sam Sweeney also said, and I think this is obvious, this is just the beginning, so more cancellations could be coming.
Look, we're at over 800 flights today. Today is 4%. It's going to gradually go to 5, 6, 7, 8%, and then it'll eventually reach 10% on November 14th. But if more people, more air traffic controllers call in sick than they anticipated, that number may even go higher than 10%, or more airports may be included in that. If you have a glass that's 8 ounces, you can't put 12 ounces of water into it. If you have a certain number of air traffic controllers and a certain number of flights that are scheduled that exceeds the capacity of those air traffic controllers, you have to cancel the flights. There's really no other way around that. You can't have more flights in the air than those controllers can speak to at one time. It's like how many balls can you juggle at once? Mm-hmm. And you have to do it safely. So they won't risk public safety.
He also had some good advice for travelers.
One, download the airline's app so you do get that immediate notification. If you can book a flight in the morning, that's your best option because those are the least likely to be impacted. The crews are already there. The maintenance was done overnight. And if you do get canceled, you have many more options to rebook throughout the day. Whereas if you're on the last flight of the night, you're likely going to be stuck overnight.
So if you want to know where you can go besides your own airline, you can go to flightaware.com. That's flightaware.com, where you can check delays. And I am seeing, thanks to our producer, that generally the Atlanta airport is experiencing departure delays of 31 to 45 minutes, but they're increasing. So just be aware of that. When we come back after the break, more results were released last night in the Provo mayor's race. And when those results came out, two-term mayor, Provo Mayor Michelle Kaufusi conceded to her challenger, Marcia Judkins. We're going to talk about that when we come back after this.
It's the showdown we've all been waiting for.
Empty backfield for Bear. Bear will go quarterback draw.
Number 7, BYU versus number 8, Texas Tech.
Bear's got the 5. Bear's got the end zone!
You can't watch this one on YouTube TV, but every BYU touchdown will be live right here. Pre-game at 7 and kickoff at 10 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. The other day I was reading an article, and it talked about the finest restaurants around the United States. And right at the very top of the list, it was Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And I'm quoting now. They say, high-quality food in an atmosphere that is sure to impress. Isn't that the perfect description of Ruth's Chris Steakhouse? And here in the state of Utah, we have 2 locations. Hotel Park City, that's where Dee and I celebrated our anniversary the other night, and downtown Salt Lake City at 275 Southwest Temple. And at this time of year, it's not too early to call and make your reservations for a special holiday event or a corporate party, whatever it might be. And remember, too, everybody loves a gift card from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It is the best meal you will ever have. You're going to love your dining experience at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Way back in 1989, I started servicing hot tubs in Park City, and I learned the hard way in the freezing winter in the mountains that hot tubs are not built for Utah's harsh climate. I then found the Arctic Spa, the most northern manufacturer of hot tubs built specifically for the northern climates. Arctic Spas use perimeter insulation similar to your house where the outside walls are insulated. This allows us to utilize the excess heat from the motors to help heat the water and reduce your electric cost each month. Since then, we have sold 10,000 Arctic Spas here in Utah. We've learned that Arctic Spas last longer because they are built stronger. You can just feel the difference. Arctic Spas are easier to fix because we put access panels all the way around the spa, which makes it less expensive for you. Add this to the lower electric bills each month, and you end up with the least expensive hot tub to own over the long term. Arctic Spas, with stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George, or online at arcticspasutah.com. Arctic Spa is the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
How do you gain an advantage in the #1 economy in the nation? Attend the Utah Business Forward Conference, where Utah's best business minds share their knowledge about the innovation, resilience, strategy, and relationships it takes to propel your business and career to the next level. Get access to leaders in various industries, from product development and manufacturing to finance and entrepreneurship. Make plans today to attend Utah Business Forward on November 17th, 2025 at Hyatt Regency Salt Lake City. Sign up now at forward.utahbusiness.com.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Provo Mayor Michelle Kaufusi conceded to Marcia Judkins last night, and when the initial results came out on Tuesday, Mayor Kaufusi was in the lead, and then when the second round of vote totals dropped, Marcia Judkins had taken a 60-vote lead, but after last night's ballot count dropped, Judkins was ahead by 400 plus votes, and Kaufusi posted on social media. I saw it on Instagram first, but also on Facebook. And she was very gracious. She said, "It's been the honor of a lifetime to serve my hometown as mayor." She felt like her administration had been marked by teamwork and partnerships, listed some of the things that she had done, and was very gracious. And Marcia Judkins, who herself is a former Utah representative, also posted on social media last night thanking Mayor Kaufusi for her service and wrote, "Provo, thank you. I'm grateful and excited for the opportunity to serve as mayor." These results become official during the final canvass on November 18th, but I don't think there are enough outstanding ballots to change the results at this point. So I have with me on the line, I think, Kyle Friant, Executive Director of the Governing Group. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Holly, how are you?
Good. I wonder if you can just spend just a couple minutes, because I also have another guest coming on in a few minutes, but just spend a couple minutes from telling us from your perspective what you thought about the Provo race.
You know, it was really interesting to observe, and in this really hyper-partisan age that we live in, this really came down to geography in a lot of ways. You mentioned Marcia Judkins served in the Utah legislature. She served on the west side of Provo, an area that she argued had been neglected by the city and hadn't received the full resources and benefits of areas like Northeast Provo. And when you look at a map, you can try to look at it from a partisanship way. You can try to look at it from any which way. But fundamentally, this came down to geography. She was able to talk to voters who trusted her in the legislature and say, here on the west side, we need leadership that is more attuned to our needs. Mayor Kaufusi made arguments that she was doing work for the west side, including bringing a grocery store over that way. But ultimately, it seems like the geographic element really played out well for Marcia Judkins in being able to pull off a really surprising victory, despite being outspent over 2-1 by Mayor Kaufusi. I think the other thing that was very impressive was clearly her team had a very good get out the vote operation for the last day. throughout Utah County, the more conservative county candidates actually did better in the subsequent batches after election night, whereas Marcia Judkins, who was running against Mayor Kaufusi, who was endorsed by the Utah County Republican Party, she, as you noted, got better and better as batches went forward. So a real testament to her team and her volunteers being able to turn out those votes that in other areas had not come out as ideologically. And it was an impressive result in that way as well. But in an era where we just are so looking for signs of national politics, being able to see geographic and regional elements and local issues make the difference in a race is actually really heartening.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was also struck, of course, by how gracious they both were. I mean, it used to be the case that people would concede graciously and acknowledge a win graciously, but it feels like maybe we've seen less and less of that.
Yes, and it was a contentious campaign. I know that Marcia Judkins had made a couple points about some things related to Provo's budget, and Mayor Kaufusi had sent a mailer pointing out some more moderate votes that Marcia Judkins had taken in the House. But, it's great that at the end of a more contentious campaign, we see people respecting the process, respecting democracy, and respecting each other, and hopefully there will be unity going forward in Provo where the electorate was nearly evenly split.
Can I ask you just like a logistics question? What will be next for Mayor-elect Judkins? What does she need to do before she's sworn in January?
Well, she'll be meeting with the various department heads and folks in the administration. There is not, as with presidential administrations, an immediate turnover. It is likely she will retain most, if not all, of those department heads. But it will be a question for her coming in to put a fresh stamp. What continuity needs to continue in Provo, and what areas does she feel like staffing changes are needed to accomplish her policy priorities? So I think that will be her first order of business, is looking at the staffing and seeing where she wants to continue and where she wants to make a new impact coming into her administration.
And I don't know if you know the answer to this. I don't know it. But are they in their budget cycle right now? I know Salt Lake County is. Do you know if Provo is doing budgeting, or is that already done for the year?
My understanding, there was some contention over the budget earlier this election cycle. I believe they have completed it. Don't quote me on that, but it certainly was a topic of some conversation, just some of the tables that were included in Provo's budget. So they are probably nearing completion or have completed that budget process, but I don't know for sure on that.
Well, thank you so much. I've been speaking with Kyle Frant, Executive Director of the Governing Group, just talking about this Provo mayor's race. And I have on with me now Senator Todd Weiler. He's up north in Davis County. And he texted me this morning with some really interesting stats. And I wondered if you could just share a little bit about your observation about mayoral races.
Yeah, so I've been, I'm kind of a nerd, Holly.
Like me.
We may have that in common. I've been watching political races in Utah for almost 30 years now, and I've frequently noticed that mayors running for a third term often lose. And I can give you examples like Ralph Becker and Jackie Paskubski, now, Mayor Kaufusi in Provo. We had Randy Lewis in Bountiful 4 years ago. I could go on and on and on. And there's an exception, and that is Tom Dolan in Sandy. He actually lost when he was running for mayor the seventh time. But he's kind of the exception that proves the rule. And I believe it's because Utahns perceive mayors as the chief executive. And while that's largely not true in most cities, it is true in Salt Lake and Provo and a few other cities where they don't have a city manager. Most cities, over 90%, have a city manager where the mayor is actually just another member of the city council, but only gets to vote if there's a tie. But I also think this is true for our governors. Remember when Mike Leavitt, who was the chief executive, when he ran for his third term, he did win, but he was forced into a primary by a relatively unknown guy by the name of Glenn Davis, I believe. And so I think that because the president of the United States gets 8 years, I think if you're perceived as a chief executive and you want more than 8 years, I think voters are very skeptical.
That's super interesting to me, and I had not noticed that trend, so it's just interesting. Did you have any other races, especially mayoral races, maybe this go-round, that either surprised you or you felt like like a lot of incumbents won, not all of the incumbents won, but were there any other races that stood out to you besides this Provo one?
I'll be honest, we have like 259 cities and towns, so I wasn't following them very close. In Bountiful, which is the largest city in my Senate district, our mayor was unopposed. The mayor was unopposed. The new mayor, Kate Bradshaw, congratulations. In Woods Cross, where I live, the mayor was also unopposed, so congratulations to Ryan Westergaard. In Kaysville, I was kind of watching. I think Tammy Tran got reelected. I think this might be her third term. It may be a second term. But my advice to anyone is if you're going to run against an incumbent mayor, pick when they're running for their third time, because I just think they're a little bit more vulnerable at that stage.
That's so interesting. So I also messaged you and said, well, we know that rule does not apply to the U.S. Senate, apparently.
Yeah, and, we had Lyle Hilliard serve in the state Senate for 38 years. I think voters, for whatever reason, they view if you're a member of a large legislative body, they just view it differently than if you're perceived to be the guy or the gal at the top who's calling the shots, if you will, like a mayor in a council mayor form of government.
Yeah, that's interesting. So we had reached out to both the current mayor and the mayor-elect for Provo, and neither could join us today. But I'm wondering if you might have, 30 seconds worth of advice for Mayor-elect Judkins.
Well, I had the opportunity to serve with Marcia for, I think, about 6 years in the state legislature. She's a wonderful person, and I'm not. I've met Mayor Kaufusi several times. She seems nice too. But I would number one, tell Marcia, keep all of your campaign promises. Number two, work hard and be transparent. I think if you make a mistake, you have to own it and not make excuses. So that would be my top three.
Thank you so much for joining me. That was Senator Todd Weiler weighing in on a trend he's seen that a lot of times incumbent mayors seeking a third term are not successful in Utah. So super interesting. All right. There is anxiety in the ranks, the military ranks, that is, as military personnel face missing paychecks. We're going to talk about that when we come back after this break.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. Our top story this hour, the flight cancellations taking place this morning will have a ripple effect on nearly every major airport in the country. That's according to Brian Kelly, also known as the Travel Points Guy.
It's not just canceled flights. Because of these canceled flights, there's going to be thousands more delays as well.
He says another problem, we don't know how long these daily cancellations might last.
This is going to be huge. So on a given day in the U.S., there might be 100 to 200 flights canceled. This is going to be 4,000.
Be sure to stay with KSL News Radio for continued coverage on this story, both online and on our website, kslnewsradio.com. KSL. You might say we have a huge football game on our air tomorrow morning. BYU travels to Lubbock, Texas to face the Texas Tech Red Raiders in a top 10 matchup. BYU receiver Parker Kingston says they've been dialed in during practice this week and trying to keep the outside noise out.
Obviously, you try and get better each week, so that's what I'm going to try to do. I would say you don't really want to change what you do, like on and off the field, because of a certain opponent you're playing, right? You want to keep in your rhythm, keep doing your thing, and just get in the film room, attacking film and attacking practice is what I can do to get better each week.
The game tips at noon Eastern or 10 o'clock our time on ABC. If you have YouTube TV, that channel is still blacked out because of a contract dispute with Disney. But we have you covered on the radio with our extended pregame coverage beginning at 7 a.m. Your money at this moment. The Dow right now is down 310. That's almost 0.7%. We're at 46,602. Coming up, we'll be in the 50s for the weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you, like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
How do you stay humble when you're America's #1 wiper blade? That's what we're currently dealing with at Rain-X. Is it even possible to humble brag when you bully Mother Nature like we do? Do we sound too conceited if we keep repeating how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America? No, we'll take a lesson from our wipers and just keep doing our job with humility. As America's #1 wiper blade. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Heather Kelly.
We're finally back to normal freeway speeds on I-15 in both directions throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties. We had some crashes and disabled vehicles, but those have all been moved either off the freeway completely or over to a shoulder, so they're no longer impacting your travel. But we do have a few city street crashes. One of them is at the intersection of Van Winkle Expressway, 5600 South and Holiday. That is in the final cleanup stages. There's also one in Murray, just off of 5300 South at 320 West. That's the commercial drive. And that is blocking all of those southbound lanes on 320 West at the moment. So people are being diverted at that area. The BYU Department of Dance presents Christmas Around the World. Over 160 dancers and musicians will take you across the globe this Christmas, December 5th and 6th at the Marriott Center. Tickets at byuonstage.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
The highs will be in the 50s through Sunday 60s to start off next week. We do have a 20% chance of rain today, but it should be sunny for the weekend. Right now it's 48 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
As the government shutdown continues into day forever, I think it's 37, maybe 38, U.S. military personnel are likely to miss their first payday. That's coming up on November 15th, which is just next week. So if you remember, the government did find a way to kind of cobble together funds to pay the military on October 15th and November 1st. But right now, if the shutdown continues another week, it looks like they will miss a paycheck. And that has a lot of people pretty anxious. So Jason Swinson with the Deseret News wrote an article about it, and he is on the line with me today. Welcome, Jason.
Thanks, Holly. Looks like you're flying solo today, huh?
I am flying solo today. Greg has the day off, so thank you for joining me. I'm wondering if you can just tell our listeners a little bit about how the funds for the October 15th and November 1st paydays were put together, and then what it looks like for next week.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned in my story that you had referenced, Holly, there was some from the Trump administration, the Pentagon kind of a budget juggling act where they were able to pull funds from the Pentagon. I believe it was $5.3 billion, in fact, over three different Pentagon accounts and some from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And as you mentioned, cobble those funds together and make payroll, at least for active duty military, for both of those October 15th and November 1st paydays. And as you again referenced, Holly, that looks as if access to those sort of ancillary funds will likely not be available as active duty troops, sailors, Marines, Guardsmen look to their November 15th payday. There was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent recently said that although they were able to pay active duty military from those excess funds of the Pentagon, by the November 15th payday, most are likely expected, to miss that payday unless some things happen or change quickly with the shutdown.
Wow. So, of course, in Utah, we have Hill Air Force Base. What are military members in Utah feeling?
Well, obviously, anyone who's active duty is likely anticipating missing that first payday on the 15th. And also, I think a key element to this story is I've been following some of the other reports and even working with some of my sources, is that another, again, key element to the story is that we have a number of reservists or members of the National Guard or Defense Department civilian employees who are linked to places like Hill Air Force Base or Camp Williams. And my reporting, or the reporting that I've done, sources that I've spoken to, is that those have been folks who, by and large, have not been receiving any money during the shutdown, as opposed to, say, the active duty military personnel. And so if I'm a Defense Department civilian employee, perhaps I've been furloughed or even asked to work without being paid. If I'm a reservist or a member of the Guard, either I've been asked to come into my training and not receive that pay, or the anticipated scheduling that I've had for training has been postponed. And certainly for a lot of reservists, and certainly the full-time active duty or Defense Department civilian employees, those are folks who are depending upon those paychecks and rely upon them to meet some of their basic needs. So a lot of pain being felt in a lot of ways, and certainly that includes a lot of Utahns with military ties.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, people are really feeling the pain. So what options are available for military, not only active duty, but all the ones that you mentioned, civilian employees and reservists? What are options for them as they try to get through this period of economic uncertainty?
Well, you can go to both, I've noticed both on the websites for both, say, Hill Air Force Base as well as Camp Williams have both provided detailed shutdown resource pages that people being impacted this can follow up on. You also have organizations like Blue Star Families, military and veteran family support organizations who are working closely with their members, and find several different resources that are available, everything from listings of food banks to suggestions on how to reach out to, say, landlords or creditors or utility providers and explain the sort of situation that it might be in. And also a lot of those organizations have also obviously encouraged people just in the Utah community to be aware of their military families, to know of their neighbors who are perhaps being impacted one way or another during the shutdown, be mindful of them, look for ways to help, and certainly, find good charitable organizations that are reputable and work directly with military personnel and their families and find opportunities to be generous and serve there.
Yeah, thank you. I also see that you talked about some of the commissaries or the exchanges, and what are they offering?
As I mentioned in my story, a number of one program that's offered to military members is the Military Star Credit Card, which is reportedly extending 90 days of zero interest with no payments required. That will allow, a little bit of the pressure to be taken off, some of these military personnel who are worrying about, how do I pay for groceries or to buy gas or other operations. But certainly for a lot of families, their concerns are things like paying the rent or paying their mortgage. I'm part of a military family. Holly, my son's a naval officer stationed in San Diego with a young family. That's one of the most expensive cities in the country to live in. So as they approach the November 15th pay date and the uncertainty there, it's just anyone connected to the military is feeling some pain and worry and stress right now.
Yes, they are. And I come from a military family. So my dad was career Air Force, and I have two brothers also that did Air Force and then Air Force Reserve. So let me ask you this question, and I don't know if you may not know the answer, but with a payday on November 15th, what it seems to be is that typically you don't get paid for like that actual week. It's like maybe a week later. So even if they were to get paid on November 15th, would that include back pay? Like, I don't know if this, maybe they solve the problem on November 14th. Would they have a regular check on November 15th is what I'm asking.
I'm not sure how the accounting would all work, and it's certainly very fluid, isn't it, Holly, with the uncertainty of the shutdown. That will certainly be a key issue once everything's resolved, is how will promised back pay to both active duty reservists and civilians, how will that be recovered? Will that be something that they'll receive immediately, or will that be extended over several different pay periods? Those are all uncertainties that are certainly, again, adding to the stress and frankly, pain of anyone in uniform and their dependents.
Yeah, that is stressful. So thank you again for joining me, Jason, and helping us know what our military members and families are also facing right now.
You're welcome, Holly.
So the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced yesterday the newest member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, Gerald Cosset. KSL 5 TV's Carol Makita will join me in studio when we come back. Stay with us over the break.
You know what? I think the holidays are the worst time of year for your furnace to go out. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and every November it feels like people get extra stressed when faced with the need to replace their furnace. The money they've been saving is supposed to go to Christmas, and now they're faced with a choice: Christmas or comfort. This holiday season, Any Hour Services wants to help alleviate some of that stress with our special holiday financing. No money down and no payments until next year. Plus, if you schedule a free estimate before the end of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any full system you buy. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. Again, during the month of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any furnace and air conditioner you buy. And you can take advantage of our special holiday financing with no money down and no payments until next year. For more details, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio, or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio.
See representative for warranty details.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
The magic of the season is fast approaching, and Cactus and Tropicals is here to help you be holiday ready. You're invited to their annual open house this Friday to kick off a weekend bursting with festive holiday decor. Meander through the store full of lush plants, amidst twinkling lights, unique ornaments, and the freshest arrangements and foliage. Looking for a statement piece for your home? Cactus and Tropicals will help you find something incredible, including gifts for everyone on your list and you. From vibrant poinsettias and other holiday plants to unique and festive decor along with expert advice, you'll wrap it up in one, well, maybe 2 visits. And don't forget expert holiday design services. Sign up for plant classes and enjoy carefully curated gifting bundles. At Cactus and Tropicals, your season will surely be merry and bright. So mark your calendar today for the Cactus and Tropicals open house this Friday at all 3 Cactus and Tropicals locations, Salt Lake, Draper, and Midvale. For special hours, orders, and more, visit cactusandtropicals.com. Utah Mammoth Hockey is back at Delta Center. Don't miss your chance to be part of the excitement as the Mammoth hit the ice all season long. Grab your friends, rally the family, and lock in your seats for the fast-paced, hard-hitting action. Great seats are available for most games, but they're selling fast. Head to UtahMammoth.com to get your tickets today. That's UtahMammoth.com. Your home for all things Mammoth hockey.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they gonna know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
An expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced the newest member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles yesterday. It's Gerald Cosset. He has been serving as the presiding bishop for the church for a decade. And I have with me in studio KSL 5 TV's Carol Makita to tell us more about now Elder Cosset.
Thank you, Holly. He brings a wealth of experience and knowledge around the world from his position as presiding bishop. And I think perhaps a lot of people don't understand the responsibilities of the 3 men who are the presiding bishopric of the church, overseeing all of the church's financial affairs, which means humanitarian, not only the humanitarian spending, but distribution of humanitarian goods, and overseeing all of the church properties, temples and meeting houses throughout the world. And it is a huge wealth of experience, plus the interfaith interaction that he has had over the years while doing this.
So Elder Cosset was originally born in France. He had a career there, I believe, with a food distribution company?
Yes.
As an executive there. So he comes from Europe. He's, I think, the first person of French ancestry to serve in the Quorum of the 12. You mentioned overseeing land and temples. Was he involved in finding locations? Was he involved in purchasing locations? How does that work?
Exactly. A lot of meetings have to take place depending upon which country and what property the church already owns, and then perhaps would turn it into a site for a temple. And I recall that this happened in Rome. The church owned property right outside the city proper, but it's always good to have meetings with those who are leading, either politicians or leading in religious. And so Elder Cosset now was going to the Vatican to meet with a cardinal, and the cardinal who was overseeing different faiths, named Jean-Louis Tauran. Does that sound French? Yes, it
Yes.
is. It just so happens that he also was from Bordeaux, and they had attended the same high school.
Oh, wow.
And that gave them an automatic conversation, smiles, stories, I'm sure. Then Bishop Caussé told me about it when we were in Rome, and I love that story because, as my family knows, I use the phrase, there are no coincidences all the time. And I think it's quite remarkable that that situation happened. So he spent a lot of time getting to know people and explaining. If you are talking about building a temple, then you have to explain what a temple is. So he has been testifying of Jesus Christ throughout the world for many years.
Wow. So I know Elder Caussé, I guess, and contextually as the presiding bishop, but he's actually, to me, he seems quite young. He's barely older than I am. He's 62. And I think that makes him the youngest member of the Quorum of the 12.
Yes. But as you mentioned, he has had leadership positions early on. Now, his parents were converts to the church, as his wife's parents were, so he grew up there. He served as a stake president and then was called into church leadership. So he has had many experiences and served under now Elder Gary Stevenson, who was the presiding bishop. He was his first counselor. So he had a learning experience with him. And he has certainly moved around this community. I remember being particularly at a community function, and he was speaking. And afterwards, people who may not have known him, I overheard the conversations. Oh, he was very impressive and spiritual as well in an interfaith way, and they were extremely impressed. He's quietly impressive.
Yeah, interesting. So I know that he is one who gave a talk in a general conference, if I'm remembering correctly, that had to do with being good stewards for our environment. So he seems to be quite passionate about a number of topics.
Yes, and he would, as he's watching over land,
yes,
the church's properties, he's well aware of taking care of the properties, the lands, the ownership in many ways. And so, yes, it is particularly close to his heart.
So what can you tell us about his maybe approach to either members of the church? It sounds to me like he has a wealth of experience. You've mentioned that. He has a deep testimony of Jesus Christ. You've mentioned that. How do you think his interaction with members of the church might change or maybe not change?
Well, now he will have an opportunity to meet larger groups and have a different kind of experience with them. His role has changed. And so we shall see. We will learn we will learn about his life, undoubtedly, and his experiences. I have met his wife. She's lovely. They have 5 children. They have moved around the world. He has spoken about how proud of his children he is because, they never complained about now we're moving to and now we're moving to. And so we'll learn about his family and we will learn about how he has learned about the church in different parts of the world, how he feels about the scriptures, what he feels is most important as the newest apostle. He will be sent throughout the world, and that's necessary right now.
Yeah, I lived in France when I was a teenager with my dad's work, and 5 children for a French family is very large. That's a very large family. I wondered if you could speak just briefly to the process of calling a new apostle. It did not happen right around General Conference, but it also didn't wait until April. Can you just tell us how that worked?
Well, I think with an opening and so much happening, not only in the church but in the world today, it's necessary to fill that position. And it has happened before. The president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, President Jeffrey R. Holland, was called outside of General Conference. So I had anticipated that would be the case here, too. They need as many people moving around the world as possible to meet with the saints. And with Elder Cossay's experience with natural disasters and the needs of people who may be suffering lack of food or flooding or anything else, they will be able to send him with great confidence in to now comfort and also know how to assess.
So yesterday he was both called and set apart. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. He described it as walking into not an unusual thing for the presiding bishop to meet with the First Presidency and Quorum of the 12. I'm sure he reports to them regularly. And this time the call was extended. So he said he was surprised, but it was a unique experience then for all of them to gather around and ordain him as an apostle.
Just briefly, how will the vacancy in the bishopric be filled?
We will see. With now Elder Cossay, he simply moved into that position after Elder Stevenson was called. That may be the case again, and we just don't know. There are a wealth of leaders who have experience around the world, so I'm sure that position will be filled soon too, because it's necessary.
So you think it'll be filled before we hit April conference?
It could be.
Right.
It could be.
It may not be. Any last thoughts that our listeners need to know about now Elder Cossay?
Well, I will simply say I'm so very much looking forward to sitting down with him in about an hour and visiting with a different set of questions, different experiences that he will share, hopefully, and we'll bring that all to you later on today on KSL 5 News.
Thank you so much for joining me. That was KSL 5's Carol Makita talking about the newest member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, Gerald Cossay. Gerald Cossay. Okay, we're switching gears back locally again. The Salt Lake County Council voted 5-4 to close the senior center. Just like the vote to close the child care centers, it's quite controversial. We're going to talk to both sides when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour: the BYU football team will have the nation's attention tomorrow morning when their game against Texas Tech is featured by College Game Day and then played out in the noon Eastern time slot on ABC. It is a matchup of two top 10 teams. BYU head coach Kalani Sitake was asked on the Triple Option podcast how he keeps his guys from paying attention to all the publicity about this game.
We're just going to keep quiet, stay humble, and just go to work and see what happens. But I'm really pleased with the way the guys have been responding to what we ask them to do. We just got to keep it rolling, man. And all I care about is us performing at our best this weekend, and then we can live with the results if we can do that.
The game kicks at 10 a.m., and we have pregame coverage starting at 7 a.m. right here on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: the Supreme Court justices are meeting today to discuss whether to take certain cases. One of them is a highly watched case involving same-sex marriage.
The case is being brought by former Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis, who famously refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Davis was briefly jailed and ordered to pay one couple $360,000 in damages and attorney's fees. She argues her First Amendment rights have been violated. She also says the court's 2015 decision legalizing same-sex marriage should be overturned. Behind closed doors, the 9 justices will decide whether to take Davis's case. 4 of them would have to agree to do it. A decision could be announced on Monday.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy reporting. Your money at this moment: the Dow is off 360 right now. We're at 46,552. Coming up, high temperatures are stuck in the 50s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
If you're getting new gutters, make absolutely sure that you don't get screwed. I mean literally, don't get screwed. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And every single gutter company out there uses screws to hold their gutters together. at the corners and downspouts. They use screws because they're fast and cheap and easy, but man, they're terrible for your gutters, aside from possibly cutting your hand. They also loosen and corrode over time because they're not made from the same metal as the gutters. At RGS Exteriors, we've been installing gutters for 70 years now, and we don't use screws. We only use permanent, strong, and unobtrusive rivets. They're made from the same material as the gutters, so they won't oxidize and they won't corrode. They'll also never loosen. Your hand is safe too. Did I mention they look amazing? So don't get screwed. Call RGS and get riveted gutters. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsutah.com.
Pros don't just show up. They prove how it's done, with precision and without shortcuts. Makita tools are built the same way, with a dedication to lasting quality, trusted performance, and results that reward your effort year after year. When the job calls for the best, call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Heather Kelly.
We are delay-free right now all across the Wasatch Front. No slowdowns on I-15 throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties. You're going to have a good commute around the Salt Lake Valley on the east and west side belt routes and the 201 freeway. And almost all those city streets that we had early on, they've all cleared, so there are no lanes blocked, even trying to get around on the secondary streets right now. Advanced Window Products, factory direct, affordable windows. Call today, they're on their way. Financing available, save now, pay later. AdvancedWindows.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We should see a high of 58 degrees today. We'll stay right about there through the weekend. Lots of sunshine this weekend. On Monday, it starts warming up. We get all the way to 66 by Thursday. Right now, it's 48 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Yesterday, the Salt Lake County Council voted to close the 10th East Senior Center to save money, not long after voting to close county-run daycare programs. And others, as you can imagine, it's been pretty controversial. Others have called the move fiscally irresponsible. They've already paid $3 million to renovate that 10th East Senior Center. And other residents are also saying they feel blindsided by these decisions, that they had no notice. So we're going to be speaking with a member of the Salt Lake County Council who voted against this measure at 10:20, so stick with us. But just before the show, I spoke with Salt Lake County Council member Amy Winder Newton, who voted for the closure of the senior center, and I asked what led to this decision.
Well, as you know, we were given a budget by our mayor with a 20% property tax increase. Property tax is the most hated tax. So as we've been looking at the budget, we're trying to find those things that are actually affected by property tax to take a really good hard look at how we can be more efficient and do right for the taxpayers. And so as we got looking at the senior center, this is one that was considered years ago for potential closure. And during COVID, we had some money from the federal government with ARPA funds that the council decided to do some renovation instead and keep it open. Now things have changed. The economy's slowing. Our budgets are tighter. We have recognized we need to look at ways we could be more efficient. And when we realized this senior center is only 1.8 miles away from the other one, where during the renovation process they've moved these residents to, we decided the right thing to do would be to finish up the project where we are now and take the $6 to $7 million we would save, as well as $400,000 a year in ongoing costs, and be able to give those back to the taxpayers. So that's where the decision came to close the Tempe Senior Center. It's currently vacant, and not every city has a senior center. So to have two so close, just within 1.8 miles away, just didn't make as much sense. And so we feel like the savings to taxpayers is, one of those things that we had to do. It's hard. These are hard decisions.
Yeah. How do you respond to critics who say that abandoning a $10 million project after you've spent $3 million, how do you, that's fiscally irresponsible? How do you respond to that?
Well, I mean, should we be throwing good money after bad? I don't think so. I will say the $3 million isn't a waste, because it's the asbestos removal process, which would have happened even if we demoed the building. And so that's something that would have had to be done no matter what. So, we feel good about it. It's not ideal. Do I wish we would have a few years ago been able to see in our crystal ball and realize we would be where we are today and make a different decision? Absolutely. That would have been a much easier time. But at this point, this is kind of where we are. It is interesting to note, too, that property is actually Salt Lake City property. So we had an agreement with them to take over the building for the senior center. And so this will actually go back to Salt Lake City. And I did give them a heads up before the vote to let them know this was on the table, and so they're aware of what's going on.
So do you have any idea what will happen then to the building?
I don't. I mean, I think that's going to be a big decision or a big discussion with Salt Lake County and Salt Lake City on what happens next. But one of the things that we're finding that's making our budget really tough is so much deferred maintenance. The county owns a lot of buildings. I mean, everything from libraries to rec centers to senior centers. There's, our government center, we've had a lot of deferred maintenance on, and we actually found a great move to a different location so that it would save a lot of money. But that is catching up with us. And so as we look at how can the county be more efficient, one of the things that I think we've got to really take a hard look at is, can we do some of these things with fewer buildings? Are there things that maybe different arrangements we need to make going forward?
Yeah. I've seen online, and I'm sure you've heard it, but some council members and residents have said that there was no public notice. They kind of felt blindsided. How do you respond to residents who feel blindsided by this, and also the child care center closures?
Yeah, the budget process is really difficult because we've got a 6-week time period to go through this massive budget and try to figure out what we're doing. And each week, how we do it is we divide it up by departments. And so each week we have slated to discuss these different departments, and then we'll make motions. And they're really just placeholder motions. They aren't, approving officially. It's more of a poll, if you will. And so we go through this process each week, and then the final vote will be on December 9th. So while a motion did take place to close it, that's actually, in my mind, the start of that process, where then people can be notified that this is the direction that the council is looking to go. We take public comment each week so that they can come and comment. Obviously, we have emails and other things that they can let us know their thoughts. And then December 9th is really the final decision.
So that December date's about a month away. Are there other projects or other community type programs that are potentially on the chopping block?
I would say these two are kind of the two biggest that I know that I've had on my list of things to look at. Next week we don't have a meeting, but the week after we'll be talking about mayor's administration. We'll be talking about regional development. There's probably nothing as big as these two items were, but there's definitely things that we're either not funding that were in the mayor's proposed budget or things that we are going to look at cutting back. But I would anticipate it's probably smaller items than these.
So you're also the senior advisor and director of the Utah Office of Families, and I know that that's separate from your role on the county council, and yet it feels like there's maybe some overlap with closing daycares, closing senior centers, and yet also wanting to promote family-friendly options in your other role. Do you see a conflict there, or how do you balance that?
Yeah, the state doesn't do senior centers, so there's really no conflict there. Ironically, as the senior advisor to the governor on family policy, I do work on childcare issues. And so there's things I'm doing there to try to help the childcare industry. I would say, though, overall, it's the same principle of we've got to be really careful of how we're helping families, because we have a lot of families in Utah who are willing to give up an income and make, have a huge sacrifice in their household income so one parent can stay at home. And yet, if you take their tax dollars to subsidize somebody else's child care, it becomes a tricky question. Now, when we're talking about those who are low income or, need a hand up, that's different, right? And the state does have state subsidies to help with child care there. But I would say overall, my view on that issue is the same in both roles. Now, at the state level, I get to do a lot of other things, like trying to bring together the child care industry to look at how do we help you save money, how do we cut down bureaucracy. There's different things there that I'm working on, but mostly I can keep my two roles separate. But I would say it is, it's something I'm thinking about a lot.
Is there anything else that you want to add that maybe I didn't ask before we wrap this up?
We recognize that people are strapped, that there are so many people struggling. We've got dozens of emails from the public saying, please don't raise my taxes. I am on a fixed income, we have a young family and we're struggling to make ends meet, or, all of these different things. And so it's tricky in public service to look at everything holistically and figure out how do you make this right for everyone. And of course, not everyone uses everything. And, we get a lot of stuff, a lot of people saying things like, well, you've got golf courses and you have rec centers, and cut those. Why are you cutting these other things? But what people don't understand about our budget is those things are funded with tourism taxes. It's a very small pot on the things funded with our general fund, which is property tax, and 74% of that is public safety related, which we don't want to cut. And so looking at the things that are directly impacting property taxpayers is a little bit tricky. And that's what we've been trying to do, is be really surgical in paying close attention to how property taxpayers are affected. And while we'll still probably have to have some sort of a tax increase just because of inflation and the deferred maintenance issue, I don't want it to be a 20% tax increase. We're trying to get that down.
That was Salt Lake County Councilwoman Amy Winder Newton discussing the council vote yesterday to close the 10th East Senior Center. Next, we're going to hear from Salt Lake County Council member Suzanne Harrison, who voted against the closure of the center. Stay with us.
BYU fans stuck with YouTube TV.
I can't watch this.
The home of the Cougars is here for you.
I can't watch this.
Yes, your 102.7 preset will have every BYU play against Texas Tech, with pregame coverage starting at 7 and No, we'll never take BYU off the air over a rights dispute. Join us Saturday morning. Kickoffs at 10 on KSL News Radio.
The movie show broadcasting live today from NPS in Layton. It's located at 1150 North Main, right off the Hillfield Road exit. Head west, turn onto Main Street. You'll drive right in front of it, Chris, and we'll get to see the store that you have helped redesign. That every time I come in here, you've added a new tweak that just makes it look even better.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was wandering through the clothing, and everything is so much more clearly labeled now with hangings from the ceiling. So when you walk into NPS, first of all, they have a video board right as you walk in where you can scan to find the sales. But then once it tells you what the things that are on even better sale than usual, it's easier to find in the store. Davis County people, if you haven't been to the NPS since the remodel, you've got to come check it out.
Yes, we have lots of great things to offer. All the clothing is size now, so you can end by silhouette. So it's just you come in, you shop what you're looking for, and it's still the treasure hunt because you never know what you're going to find.
You know what? I've already found me a pair of shoes and a shirt today. I'm telling you, I tell myself, look, I'm going to go in. I know we've got to do a remote there. I'm not going to buy anything this time.
Right. That's never going to happen.
I've never walked out of here without buying something. And it, in part, especially with the times the way they are right now, the prices that you get here at NPS are so helpful.
They are. And we really strive to make sure we can give those discounts and those benefits to people that, really truly can need them. And our grocery department is a good place to stock up if you're limited on funds.
Yeah, when you need your dollar to stretch, NPS is one of the best places to go. It's honestly a great place to go even when you don't need your dollar to stretch. We joked sometimes in the past when we'd have some of the holiday sales where you got to buy $100 worth of stuff, and you put in all this stuff, and you're like, surely that's enough. And then you go through the line, and they say, don't call me Shirley, and that's not enough.
That's not enough, yes.
So come to NPS. One of the best reasons they acquire their inventory from overstock, unclaimed, and refused shipments from companies around the country. So it's brand new. It's got the original tag on it. So when you see the NPS tag, which is 30 to 70% off of that tag, you already know you're getting a deal. And then part of the reason I went for the shirt and the shoes, you get an extra 30% off shoes today and an extra 50% off clothes.
Correct.
We're going to talk about all the deals we've got at NPS as we go throughout today from now till 1 at the 1150 North Main location in Layton.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Save $2,500 on a new furnace and air conditioner from Any Hour Services. For more information, call Any Hour Services or schedule a free estimate online at anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
We just heard from Salt Lake County Councilwoman Amy Winder Newton, who voted to close. She was one of 5 Republicans who voted to close the Senior Center on 10th East to save money. And this vote comes just a couple of weeks, I think, after voting to close the county-run daycare programs. And residents are saying that they feel blindsided by these decisions. We also wanted to talk to one of the 4 Democrat members of the county council to find out what their opposition is. And I have on the line with me Council Member Suzanne Harrison. Thanks for joining me, Suzanne.
Thank you, Holly. I appreciate being on the show.
Dr. Suzanne. Tell us about this vote and this budgeting process.
Well, this vote was a surprise to us as well, in addition to being a surprise to the public. It doesn't make sense. We voted unanimously in 2022 to renovate this 10th East Senior Center and keep it open. A promise was made to the community. We have already spent over $3 million of taxpayer money on the renovation. We are mid-project. And to suddenly bring forward a vote to close it is literally wasting over $3 million of taxpayer money that we won't get back, and it will cost more taxpayer money to ramp down the project and possibly demolish the building because we have to give it. The land is owned by Salt Lake City. We don't even own the land in Salt Lake County. And I think it also raises another point of, engagement with the public. There was no outreach to the public or communication with the public on either the daycare closure vote or this vote. And I just think that's not the way we should be governing. The public deserves to have a say and some input and a heads up, especially on something like this, which is a 180 to a promise we made to residents in 2022.
So what do you make of the arguments on the other side that they're trying to be fiscally responsible and not throw good money after bad, specifically with this, or that it's not government's role to be involved in daycares, et cetera?
Well, the time to have decided the issue on the senior center was in 2022 when the council voted unanimously to approve the renovation and to keep it open and to fund that renovation. This doesn't make any fiscal sense to waste $3 million of taxpayer money. And regarding the daycare centers, I think that there were viable options that we tried to propose to have a fiscally sustainable path forward that would have increased fees for families and found partnerships with the public-private partnerships and nonprofits to find sustainable solutions to keep it open and reduce that fiscal responsibility of the county.
I asked Councilwoman Winder Newton if there were other big ticket items like these two have been, and she says she doesn't think so. As you look at the budgeting process, and you still have about a month before you have to vote on the final budget, do you see anything else on your agendas?
We are scrutinizing the budget. That is my fiscal responsibility. I take that very seriously, and we are going through and making sure we're stretching every tax dollar as far as possible. And this vote is an example of a surprise proposal that is a waste of money. We're losing $3 million of taxpayer money because mid-project renovation, a sudden vote to close it is, we can't get that tax dollars back.
How much do you feel like this is a maybe backlash to the county mayor's budget proposal?
I can't speak for what the motivation is, but I want residents to know that I take our fiscal responsibility very seriously. I care about keeping taxes low as possible and making sure that we are stretching every dollar and being fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. That is a responsibility I take very seriously.
So it's interesting to me to see and hear, I guess, what's happening. It feels like, I know the budget process is falling late in the year, and that's a normal time, but we have a lot of economic uncertainty, and it feels like maybe the people impacted by these closures feel like they don't have a lot of options. Do they have options?
Well, you're right. It comes at a really hard time. A lot of Salt Lake County residents are stressed with federal actions limiting and ending SNAP benefits and nutrition programs. It's a time for a lot of people are really feeling that economic stress, and my heart goes out to folks. We are trying to fund these programs in a sustainable way that look out for our most vulnerable, our young families with young children and our seniors. These things matter, and I will continue to work to find fiscal solutions that look out for our most vulnerable.
So you have at least a couple more meetings. If people want to weigh in on these decisions, what's your best advice for them to weigh in? Should they show up in person? Should they send an email? What should they do?
There's a few ways. Certainly email your county council members, and we have upcoming meetings on November 18th and the 25th. Public comment is at 10 a.m., and you can join in person or online. Those are all great ways to communicate with your elected officials.
So Councilwoman Harrison, when you go into these meetings, how much discussion is there between the two different partisan sides? Do you feel like you have an opportunity to really share, or are you feeling like here's the proposal and now we're going to take a vote? Like, I haven't watched your meetings. How do you feel like that's going?
Usually there's quite a bit of discussion back and forth, but on the senior center vote, it was a surprise to me. I did not know that was coming. And I think we are at our best as local government when we're listening to the people that elected us and we're working together to find solutions that make sense for residents and fiscally.
Thank you for joining me. I have one last question. So people who are experiencing that economic uncertainty in Salt Lake County, where can they go right now? Are you sending people to food banks, food pantries, to 211? What do you recommend when people are reaching out and saying, hey, I'm really struggling?
211 is an excellent resource. We have our Utah Food Bank, and also the Salt Lake County has a webpage with programs for assistance in an assortment of things: tax relief, senior center programs, our Meals on Wheels, which delivers hot meals to thousands of residents and vulnerable seniors every day. There are programs available to help, and I will continue to do everything I can to get the word out about those programs.
Thank you. And one final question. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you that you'd like to weigh in on?
No, I appreciate you talking about this. Sometimes people aren't aware of what their county government does, but we provide a lot of vital services, whether they're public safety or in, looking out for our seniors. And local government really matters at the city, county, and state level. So thank you for talking with me today, Holly.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Suzanne. I appreciate that. That was Salt Lake County Council member Suzanne Harrison, who also used to serve in the Utah legislature. Look, I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about some of the options in our community. So we've been talking a lot about food banks and food pantries. There are also restaurants that have been stepping up to say, hey, we are going to serve people as well. I'll just name off a couple. So Mumbai House has 3 locations: Salt Lake City, Park City, Tooele. Families are able to go in and grab a free meal. They also have Something Wicked Coffee, which out in Tooele, previously Beans Coffee. There's Yummy's Korean Barbecue and Sushi, Sweet Hazel & Co. Bistro and Workshop. There's just a number. Doki Doki, Sugar House Coffee, Girls Who Smash. It's a pop-up food truck in Salt Lake Valley. They are all also offering free meals. Bansa Gar is an Indian restaurant, and they're offering free meals. They're also offering specifically on Veterans Day, which is next Tuesday. The restaurant will give free meals to veterans and their families. I've eaten their really, really good food. And then there's just local citizens who are also doing basically pop-up food pantries. Like if you can remember those little local neighborhood libraries where people would put a book, now people are putting food in there. So just remember that there are a lot of options out there for people who are in need right now. So after the Charlie Kirk shooting, the demand for trainings on ratcheting down political heat really skyrocketed, and organizations like the Dignity Index have been very busy. They've also been subjected to some misunderstandings. We're going to talk to co-founder Tammy Pfeiffer when we come back after the break.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story: Provo's incumbent mayor Michelle Kaufusi has conceded after a tight race with a former Utah state representative. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis.
In a Facebook post, Kaufusi says she's honored to have served her hometown and says what she will miss the most is the people. Voting results show Marsha Judkins led by 51%, beating Kaufusi by 398 votes. Kaufusi says some of her proudest accomplishments include bringing a fast-growing airport to Provo, building a new police and fire headquarters, and submitting 8 balanced budgets without needing a tax increase. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Weber State University is getting a new president. The Utah Board of Education has appointed veteran administrator Leslie Durham as interim president of the university. This comes after University President Brad Mortensen resigned last week. Durham will begin her new role at Weber State on Monday. Our top national story this hour: a federal judge is ordering the Trump administration to fully pay out SNAP benefits for the tens of millions of Americans who rely on the food assistance program.
These were strong words from this federal judge, saying the administration did not comply with his court order and must fully fund SNAP benefits by today. But it does set the stage for another legal battle with 42 million Americans hanging in limbo.
ABC's Rachel Scott reporting. Your money at this moment: the Dow is down 292 at this hour. That's 0.6%. We're at 46,619. Coming up, no storms in the next 7-day forecast. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio. It's the movie show broadcasting live from NPS in Layton at 1150 North Main Street. We're inviting you to come on the treasure hunt today. Come to the Layton store and say hi to us at the movie show, but you can also go to the Salt Lake store at 1600 South Empire Road or the Utah County store in Orem at 475 North State, because each store has its own deals. Each store, all the stores are going to save you money, but you never know what you're going to see at any given time. And one of the great things, Chris, is they change inventory 2 to 3 times a day. So even if you went twice the same day, you'd go back and find stuff that wasn't there earlier.
Correct. Yes. We always are replenishing, always getting new product out to the floor, new trucks.
So what are some of the latest changes here at the Layton store? And for people who haven't been here and have only been to the Salt Lake store, but if you live anywhere between Layton and Salt Lake City, you got to come and check out this Layton location because it is gorgeous. Chris has designed it. You walk in, you immediately see designer things right as soon as you walk in the door to your right.
Yes, the collectibles department is right there when you walk in. We have the electronics department is done. Yeah, I just went blank. The electronics department.
I was actually thinking electronics.
Electronics,
and then the collectible cards are back there too.
Correct,
unless those have been moved also.
Nope, Pokemon and those kind of cards are back there.
Yeah, if you need DVDs, discs of any kind, man, you got the best deals here, and you got a huge selection of them also.
Right, we do.
Physical media is making the comeback because people are tired of this whole streaming thing where, well, where is it this month? What do I got to subscribe to just to watch one movie anymore?
Right, it's true. It is true. People are buying more DVDs. We do see people buying a lot of DVDs.
I also noticed you guys have fall collection stuff out today. You still got pumpkins.
We still have pumpkins.
You've got some Christmas stuff already up. We got holiday parties coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks.
I know.
And it's Thanksgiving. Well, I guess it's 3 weeks. But anyway, you want to plan ahead.
You want to plan ahead.
Get your stuff now before the selection gets down.
Correct, yeah. And we have started putting all the Thanksgiving stuff out, so we're enticing people to start buying that.
One of the great things, we've got movie show deals that we're going to tell you about, so keep listening and come say hi to us at 1150 North Main in Layton at NPS, the nicest place to save.
Makita's built for the pros who show up early, who don't do shortcuts, only precise cuts. With tools built to last, job after job, year after year. Performance that pays off. Because when the job calls for the best, you answer. And when you need the best, you call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And back to you, Heather.
We do have some delays now northbound I-15. It's actually if you're trying to exit from northbound 15 onto the collector ramp that'll take you over to the I-215 South Interchange in Murray. It is a parking lot right now. That's all due to a crash near 90th South. But again, this is on the collector ramp near 90th. It's blocking a right lane and shoulder, and traffic is just at a crawl, backed up several blocks onto main flow, northbound I-15 in Sandy. So that's really the only struggle that people are going to have at the moment. If you don't have to transition onto the South Belt, then you're going to be fine heading all the way into downtown Salt Lake. No problems getting out of Tooele County, Eagle Mountain, and it's a great drive through Parley's Canyon right now. From system install to fast fixes to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll have a high of 58 degrees today. We'll stay in the 50s through Sunday. Then the 60s start on Monday, up to 66 by Thursday of next week. Right now it's 48 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
It's just Holly Richardson today, but I've had great guests, so that is awesome. Look, we've talked a lot on Inside Sources about the need to ratchet down the heat in political conversation, to the decreasing contempt. That's an Arthur Brooks thing, but the dignity and the being able to treat people and talk to people about dignity. So one of the things that's that I have loved, and I've been on their advisory council, I think since the beginning maybe, is the Dignity Index. And I have with me in studio Tammy Pfeiffer, who's the co-founder. Thanks for coming in, Tammy.
Thank you. And you were there at the very beginning, Holly. I had dinner last night with Amanda Ripley, who's an award-winning author and journalist, and she does a lot of work now on conflict. And she has an organization called Good Conflict.
Mm-hmm.
She says we don't need to have less conflict. We have to have good conflict. She was reminiscing. She said, I was here 3 years ago when you had just finished a pilot project. She followed Tim Shriver and Tom Rochert and I around for 3 days, watching to see what had happened with the pilot project. And I told her, I said, we were starting this summer, a few months before that, in the summer of 2022. And when I had to look at a list of people in Utah that could advise us, it was like Holly Richardson, Gary Herbert, Rick Larson, Sean Newell. We went through, half dozen names or so, Pat Jones, of people that could give us a look at what we wanted to do and tell us if would that work and how would it work. And so you were there from the beginning, and we ran this pilot project in collaboration with the Hinckley Institute of Politics. We hired some students, and the Kim Gardner Center said, we'll lend you some researchers, and they helped us kind of prove this tool that we have, the Dignity Index, and that was 3 years ago.
That surprises me, actually, because I remember the Politico article that she wrote. So just tell our listeners what has changed with the Dignity Index from the time that you were in that pilot project to today.
Yeah, it's been such a journey for us, because we originally thought we're going to design this tool to score political speech, so that citizens, when you get to the ballot box, it's now at your kitchen table, your mail-in ballot, but you will have a way to judge the speech that you can see. Does my candidate speak with contempt, which we believe does not solve problems? People aren't going to be able to work across the aisle if you speak with contempt. Or do they speak with dignity, which we believe is a problem-solving tool? So we designed this tool to score passages of political speech, not to score people, but speech. And we almost immediately found out that people wanted to use the instrument to score themselves.
Yeah.
I remember we were at the Utah Valley Chamber event in October while we were in the midst of this pilot. And Governor Herbert and I gave a short presentation, and I had a line of people afterwards that came up to me. None of them had anything to do with scoring political speech.
Mm-hmm.
They said, I need this in my place of business. I need this with my wife. How do I? So it was really eye-opening to us. And even the young undergraduate and graduate students that we taught to score came to our scoring sessions and said, I had to stop following someone on social media. This is about me. And so the biggest shift we've seen is that, yes, we can use this to score political speech, and we hope citizens do. However, it's business culture. It's K-12 schools that say this is an anti-bullying measure for us. We have campuses who say we need more free speech on campus. This is going to work for us. And so we've been in all sectors in probably 30 states now doing our work with the Dignity Index.
Yeah, that's so great. And, I think it's part of this bigger conversation that I think multiple organizations are having, and I know you're a part of one. It's remind me of the new organization that's working together.
Oh,
Forward.us, is that what it is?
Turn toward.
Turn toward.
Yeah, turn.us. Turn toward.us. Yeah, turn toward us.
Right, and that's part of conflict resolution / de-escalation, right? And I've been really fascinated by the peace building efforts, and peace is not, you just quietly acquiesce to whatever the bully wants. It's really the call to become peacemakers from the former leader of the church I belong to, which was President Russell M. Nelson, who recently passed away. And he called on members of our church to become peacemakers, to decrease contempt in our online and face-to-face conversations. And so I was surprised, and I mentioned this to you because you just did a leadership conference that there has been a little bit of misunderstanding and maybe even some pushback on the Dignity Index. I wonder if you can just maybe address some of the misunderstandings about this.
Well, it's interesting. People think that we are out there policing everyone's speech.
Right.
We are trying to shine a spotlight on dignity and contempt. We believe that it's human nature. We want to improve ourselves. And we believe that if people see dignity, they will be drawn to it. We believe dignity is this inherent worth that we all have. And we are drawn to people that exhibit dignity and that treat others with dignity. And we think that if we shine that spotlight on contempt, people will recoil. It's like, yeah, that's not what I want to sound like. That's not who I want to be.
Right.
And so that's the purpose of it, is to teach people to use this instrument themselves, to say, this is what I hear. This is what I hear coming out of my mouth. This is what I hear speaking in my business to my coworkers. That's not how I meant to react. How can I do better? And so we've got this simple tool to empower people to manage conflict in a different way.
Yeah.
Very little of our work since our pilot project has anything to do with scoring political speech.
You know, and I think it's interesting because this problem of contempt, you mentioned, we've talked about Governor Cox's Disagree Better, and you mentioned one, good conflict with
Amanda Ripley's.
Yeah, exactly. And Chad Ford, who's now up at Utah State, he wrote a book called Dangerous Love, because it's all talking about, look, how do we have these discussions, these hard discussions, without treating people with contempt? And I think you shining that light on it, that has been really important. I've done a lot of research on genocide too. And sometimes I think people think, well, it starts with the killing. No, it doesn't. It starts with dehumanization in speech.
That's exactly
right. And otherizing and all of those things. The killings come at the very end, but the dehumanizing, right? They're others, the otherizing. And then you start to say, well, they're vermin, or they're, whatever they are, invaders, whatever they are. And it's that's what's so disturbing to me, is that contempt leads to the breakdown in many relationships, including international relationships.
Yeah, and the rise in political violence.
Yeah.
I just read yesterday there was a member of Congress that is not running for re-election, and this is what he's pointed to.
Yeah.
He's pointed to the rhetoric and the attacks and the threats on his family.
Yeah, I saw that.
He said, I wasn't afraid I was going to lose. I was afraid that I would win.
Yeah. And his family's at risk.
And his family's at risk, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me. Keep up the good work. I think you're doing great work. And it's sad to me that people misunderstand and somehow want to push back against the Dignity Index, because I think you are doing great things, and we need more conversation about how to treat people we disagree with dignity.
Yeah,
thank you, Tammy.
Thanks for having me.
So when we come back after this break, we're going to go to the movie show, but I do have a couple of fun facts before we talk about the movie of the week. Stay with us.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
It's the movie show, broadcasting live from NPS at 1150 North Main Street in Layton. Davis County drivers, South Weber County drivers, if you're driving past on I-15, just stop off for a sec. Come in and check out what they've got at what we like to call the nicest place to save. They've got prices, they've got 30 to 70% off all retail items in the store all the time. Then they stack deals on top of that, up to 50, 60% off of that. So we joke a lot, Chris, here on the movie show. They're almost paying us to take these things. And it's not quite that, but it gets pretty close sometimes.
It does, because you're getting stuff that you can find in these other name brand retailers for a fraction of the cost.
And it's the same stuff with the same tags. Books, $2 a book. It doesn't matter if the cover price on that book is $54.99 or if it's $2. It's $2. All the time. So that's what a lot of people come in. Also, NPS is one of the few stores that I've ever been to where people line up outside every single day. Not just on Black Friday or not just on the summer clearance sale, every single day.
Yes, because they're wanting to know what's new.
Yeah. I already got me shoes and a shirt that I got 50% off the low tag price, and the shoes were another 33% off the low tag price. And, of course, I always come get my sodas here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just got some soda.
Mostly for my kids. I already sent the picture to my daughter. Look what I'm bringing home. She's already wheeled back the heart eyes emoji. Come to NPS. And we haven't really talked much about groceries so far, but this is a great place to make your dollar stretch.
It is.
Especially if you're on a budget or things are tight. Come to NPS, get your grocery shopping done. You're going to find the same stuff you find in the grocery store for cheaper.
Exactly.
How are they able to do this? Why? Everybody's always trying to make the most money possible. Why does NPS make this so good for the customer?
Because we care about the community.
Yeah, you guys have been around for 56 years, basically,
Yeah.
I think Julie talks about. So a part of this Salt Lake community, a part of Utah, and trying to give back to Utah. So come and take advantage of deals. We've got movie show deals we're going to tell you about once we start the movie show, where these are extra deals that they throw on just for the movie show because, that's how I work. I always make them give us a little bit extra. 1150 North Main Street in Layton. Come say hi between now and 1 o'clock.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
The new Inside Sources.
And now I promised fun facts, but I have to start with unfun facts. And this is what is happening with the flights around the country. So KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff is joining me again. Look, we spoke less than 2 hours ago about flight delays. Tell us about the changes.
So when we talked less than 2 hours ago, 13,400 nationwide.
Delays, right?
Delays. It is now at 15,573 delays currently across the country. And the good news is there's only been 21 delays in Salt Lake, but still 21 is a lot for Salt Lake.
Sure. That just makes me say, ugh, I'm so glad I'm not flying today. That sounds like so many. Are we starting to see trickle-down effects, so we're hitting other airports too?
It is a little bit. Cancellations have been pretty stable for the last few hours, which really surprised me. I thought as we had more delays, as those delays started to stack up, that the cancellations would start to rise as, people are just not able to make those connecting flights. But so far, they're pretty stable.
Okay, so what's your advice to people who are going to travel today?
Give yourself lots of extra time and make sure you're watching your airline's app so that you've got the most up-to-date information about whether or not your flight has been canceled or delayed, and especially if you're looking at connecting flights.
Okay.
Looking down the line.
So 15,000 plus delayed flights today.
Already.
Yay.
And it'll get worse as the afternoon goes on.
Right, as they start to have cascading effects. Okay, thanks so much. That was Don Brinkerhoff. Look, I got a few fun facts before we head to the movie show. So on this day, so it's November 7th, In 1916, Jeanette Rankin from Montana was elected to Congress. She was the first woman representative to go to Congress. And this was, thank you, Montana, this was before universal suffrage was passed in 1920. So also on this day, and this is one that I personally thought was really funny, in 2020, Rudy Giuliani held a press conference. And if you remember, he made it sound like he was going to the Four Seasons Hotel, but it was the Four Seasons Total Landscaping in Philadelphia. So there is even an account on X that is Four Season Landscaping, and that was on this day 5 years ago. So we're going to switch to the movie show, and we have Andy Farnsworth and Rachel Wagner to talk to us about also maybe not fun movies.
No, actually, this week we've got some fun, some that aren't necessarily fun but are really well done, and weirdly enough, we got a lot of things where like the same actors in different things that are both really good, or we got Dakota Fanning in one series and Elle Fanning in another movie, and just a whole bunch of stuff. But our big movie this week, Holly, is Nuremberg, which I don't know if you've seen any ads for this or not, but it is a retelling of the story of the post-World War II trial of the Nazi High Command, which for maybe people who aren't as familiar with the story or don't remember high school history class, they'd never done this before. They'd never had a worldwide trial of leaders of people who'd lost a war. And so in this, you've got Michael Shannon playing Justice Jackson, William Jackson, I think is his name. Oh, no, Robert Jackson, Justice Robert H. Jackson, who's tasked with putting together the trial of the Nazi leadership. And so we've got Russell Crowe playing Hermann Goering, who was second in command to Hitler, the highest-ranking Nazi they were able to capture that didn't take their own life. And then, but a lot of the movie is just about Goering's interactions with a army psychiatrist who's played by Rami Malek. This is a real guy named Douglas Kelly, and his job was to certify that they were able to stand trial, certify that they're mentally fit. So it's really cool to be dropped into something that we know so much about, and we've got 80 years worth of looking back, but this movie kind of puts you in there and says, hey, take a minute and pretend like you don't already know everything that happens. And it really ups the stakes of what they were facing. Like, well, we know what happened. We won the war, and then this stuff has all happened. But what if you didn't know that? What if they just barely won the war? And all the things that you know now you didn't know. And so it really grounds you in that moment, and it raises stakes for something that you already know the outcome.
Yeah. And war is inherently a nightmare. So what do you blame individuals for the war? Like, how much fault are
right, and they'd never done this before.
Yeah.
Like they had to establish something that had no precedent, and then they had to make sure that they won the case that they were trying him for. Because of course there were a lot of people that were like, "Why aren't we just shooting these guys? Why aren't we executing them?" And they're like, "Well, we're going to be better than that. We're going to convict them, and then we'll execute them. But we're not just going to execute them," which is basically how all warfare had been conducted up to that point in history.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I think the Nuremberg trials, I think that's where we got the phrase "a banality of evil," right? It's just they went to work and did their job, and in like really just disturbing and nasty ways. So that actually sounds really intriguing, this movie.
It was really good.
It surprised me how much I ended up enjoying. I mean, I thought it would be good based on the cast. I mean, you've got Michael Shannon, you've got Russell Crowe, Rami Malek, as I mentioned, you got Colin Hanks, John Slattery, and to me, one of the most poignant scenes, and we'll talk about this on the movie show, is when the people see the video footage of the clearing of the discovery of the concentration
camp. Because they think, that's just propaganda. It's just, and so when they see the actual images, it's
they're gasping in the courtroom. Some of them are leaving. It was like, we've seen it. We've known about it for decades now. But watching them react as when this is the first time they've seen it, there's some really powerful moments in this movie.
And you think, could they tell another World War II story? Yet they can. There's still more to tell.
Wow.
And
you kind of gave me chills just talking about it. It's like, okay, maybe I'll have to go watch that.
Yeah.
So even if you know the story of Nuremberg, it's well acted, and if you don't know it, then you definitely should go see it. I think you'd be shocked at how relevant some of the things are even today that you just didn't realize. So anyway, Yeah, we're excited to talk about that one. And, there's a lot of other good things. There's a streaming series about President James Garfield where Michael Shannon plays James Garfield on Netflix, and it is excellent.
It's so good.
It is excellent.
I thought he was kind of a nothing president.
That's what you thought.
That's why you have to watch it.
Oh, gosh.
And he was assassinated 3 months into his presidency.
Oh.
But the whole story, again,
it is an unbelievable part of American history. So you got to watch it.
And
read the book.
Where is it streaming?
That's called Death by Lightning.
It's on Netflix.
And it's on Netflix. It's called Death by Lightning because at one point Garfield says, assassination, death by lightning. They're both unlikely, so you really can't worry about it too much.
Oh, gosh. And then he died by assassination.
And then he did, yes.
Okay. All right. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, and I was kind of hoping Greg would be here for this question, but that's okay because we'd love to hear your opinion on this. Based on Nuremberg being a courtroom movie, we want to ask, what is the best courtroom scene in a movie? Because there's not much in a movie that creates drama better than a good courtroom scene.
So, yeah, Greg would have been a better person to answer. And by the way, today is National Love Your Lawyer Day, so we can do a shout out.
Then it's a perfect question. Perfect question.
I know. I don't watch enough movies, really. So the one that I kind of defaulted to was Instant Family. And because they're adopted, right? Because of the adoption
love that
scene.
movie.
Yeah.
Grandma
That made me
Sandy's in
cry.
the house. We can begin. Told you we'd make it. Stop it. These seats are safe. Yeah, they're safe for me. Move over.
So Grandma Sandy shows up at the court hearing. But look, I have an adopted family. We have a lot of adopted kids. And so that one is the one that stuck out for a courtroom scene.
That's a good selection because we don't usually get courtroom scenes that are full of joy like that. They're usually some tense.
I know.
Are they going to be convicted or not?
Well, when I was thinking about this question, there were a lot more comedies, though, that I thought of. I was like,
those are good choices, too.
So what did you think of, Rachel?
Well, the comedies, I thought of Liar, Liar. That's one of my all-time.
Oh, that's got so many funny scenes.
So many funny scenes.
Objection, Your Honor. On what grounds? On the grounds that it's killing my case.
But To Kill a Mockingbird would be the serious one that that especially when stand up, Scout, your father's leaving the courtroom.
Oh,
I mean,
have you seen To Kill a
doesn't
Mockingbird?
Get better than that.
I have not.
Have you read it?
No.
Oh,
please! I'm having to admit things on air that I should know about, and I'm getting reaction through the window saying, "Oh my gosh, Holly, I know the story. I've never read it, and I haven't watched the movie."
Most people have to read it in school, so that
I know.
I feel like
Holly, you're not officially a part of the movie show until you've had people drop their jaw at what you haven't seen.
I know,
as opposed to what you have seen. And for me, honestly, I don't think there's anything that tops the scene in A Few Good Men with Jack Nicholson's famous line. Do we have that? Sorry, bro.
No.
You can't handle the truth.
Right.
When Tom Cruise. Okay. But there you go, Holly.
Well, we're going to turn things over to you now, and I'll be back with Inside Sources at 9 a.m. on Monday. So thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. A fund to help people whose homes flooded last month in Salt Lake City just got a major boost. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Around 24 homes in the Rose Park and West Point area saw water flood into their basements when a drainage canal overflowed. And because most could not get flood insurance in that area, they'll have to pay for the thousands in repairs on their own. But the Larry H. Miller Foundation says it's going to help, donating $100,000 to the West Side Flood Relief Fund and their real estate business. It's donating $25,000 in home repair materials.
Before the Millers' announcement, the flood fund had collected about $6,500. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Search and rescue efforts are underway in the Philippines after one of the strongest storms of the year brought deadly wind and rain.
Typhoon Karmegi ripped through the Philippines, killing more than 188 people. Over 100 people are still missing. Now, the destruction there made worse by severe flash flooding, heavy downpours too, dropping more than a month's worth of rain.